No, let's give it to them.
Let's give it to them? Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. The suspense is killing everyone.
Did it work?
I think it half worked. So, it was something.
Well, look, all of these problems are going to go away because Elle Marie sent me a message yesterday and she's like, I hear you're having technology issues again. That energy thing's back. She's like, I would like to clear it for you.
Oh, very cool. Well, that was it was a very useful thing that Elle Marie did with you. It did work. So
it did. So and she's felt it all the way over in Texas. She's like, babe, let me help.
Isn't that amazing how our energy transfers so far?
Yeah.
We really are just all connected, aren't we?
We certainly are. Maybe today's session is on energy.
Energy and connection, I was just going to say. As we roll into the weekend, and hopefully we've all got a little bit of space where we can, find ourselves and connect with our friends. Maybe that's what we need to talk about is connection. And we sort of talk about sending that message of gratitude and love to people that we maybe haven't connected with in a long time. But maybe this weekend should be a focus on how we connect with everyone.
Yeah, that sounds beautiful. Who was I doing? Oh, with the group, my Friday reflection session yesterday, we were talking about what you could do to connect even in lockdown. And I've got Sandrine and her sister Christine were trying to organise to do a Cards Against Humanity night via Zoom. So they're waiting for me to finish 6 weeks solid because they want it to be because obviously you can't do Cards Against Humanity without a couple of beverages. So
does that mean we scared them off Disturbed Friends?
Well, look, I think we'll end up in Disturbed Friends, to be honest. But that's what I was saying. Like you can still do things. Like you can still connect that way. You just got to get a little bit more creative.
I have to admit, the kids have been a lot better at it than I have. So all through with their lockdown schooling, they've taken it upon themselves to call their friends in the work time so that they can work together and talk through things and still have that connection, because that's the piece that's missing. I think my kids' school seem to do it really, really well, where the kids they have to be online every day with the whole group and they get to at least see each other and all of that. But I know some schools, it's like really 1 or 2 check-ins.
I've actually been really surprised by this school. It's a private school, and they came home on the last day of school for book week, and Frankie had 2 donuts, 2 ice blocks, and a handful of lollies. And I was like, what? And they were only doing Zoom for an hour on Mondays and Fridays, but that only started in the last 4 weeks of.
Yeah.
And I just thought that was disgusting. Could you give me a phone?
And look, it's really, really hard. I've got a lot of empathy for teachers at the moment where they're trying to, essentially change everything they do. Not only are they recalibrating the curriculum so that kids can actually do it at home, but they're also trying to work out how to maintain the connection in the classroom and everything else. And I really feel for a lot of the teachers that are, they're working so hard. And I just think that perhaps there hasn't been enough emphasis put on just that connection time, that talking to each other, seeing each other, even if it's only a smile or a wave or something like that. I think the importance of it's sort of being forgotten.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that we've got a couple of team members that have had COVID as well last month or so, which means that they can't go outside whatsoever. Like Jody lives alone. Jody's probably listening. I can see her on there. And like Kay's got her whole family, but Kay's been locked down for longer, like in terms of not able to go outside. They're a little bit stricter.
It feels like Kay's been locked down for like 2 years.
I feel like, yeah, well, she pretty much has. She only had that one time she got to the beach, which was the first time she got away in 2 years. And then they were back in. And then they got a little bit of freedom for being able to go to the shops. But other than that, they weren't allowed outside their compound. But when we think about it, this is why it's so important that if you do have teams, that rather than just sending emails or messages, that you are jumping on Zoom, and that your meetings aren't just meetings about work. It's about the human connection, the opportunity to share and express and to be vulnerable and to open up. Like, I don't know about you, Kyle, but I think when we made that shift with the trainers, we've seen a big shift in even the way that they interact with each other for getting tasks done.
Absolutely.
But definitely in the way that, like, I'm getting more private messages from the team as well, like when they're feeling or going through something, or whereas I think before that, as obviously with me being remote as well, they hadn't met me that many times in person, but that humanizing and them really knowing that they're not just, we don't just see them as someone there to get the job done. We do see them as a human, and just a lot of people, especially, I don't know if we talked about it on this call before, but a lot of people, especially if they've got the more compliance-based profiles out for teledynamics, the steel and more the steel and a little bit of the tempo if they're in the accumulator corner, but they're just so used to meetings being there. You know, they need to be efficient, they need to be factual, they need to follow a process and get it done. And so they can be a bit resistant into going into that. But the importance of switching away from having meetings like that and going into, right, like, you know, we always start with an attitude of gratitude, or the 3G, the thanks to Amy, if Amy's watching, the gratitude, giving and growing, or even icebreakers, but because they don't have the water cooler talk anymore.
And that's a really, really good point, you know, that, we've shifted to an online meeting world and all of that sort of stuff, but we've kind of forgotten that, there is that water cooler talk. And even with your customers, you know, like, it's really easy to get into the drill of, okay, video's on, right, it's showtime, let's do this, right, this, this, right, cool, yep, done, and it's over. Whereas, you know, normally we would have probably interacted with the people in reception, you know, we'd have had a quick chat, we would have had a coffee, and, you know, just all those little things that are all about connection that we've kind of missed and haven't happened.
Just the simple, if you go to an actual meeting, you're like, how'd you get here? How's your dad? Like, just even if it's a little bit of small talk before smashing into it, that piece is lost. But I would have even challenged that some of us have lost that art even in the busy world, and forgotten how to connect on that human level, or it's seen as not important. And anyone that's in sales would tell you that relationships is the first thing. So even if you didn't get to the business, as long as you built the relationship, use your powers for good, not evil. But I think it's really important to look at how else you can deepen a connection. And I think we've spoken to it before in terms of, rather than just sending a text message of gratitude or reaching out, like, at least drop a voice message so they can hear the tone in your voice and it's a bit more personal and human, or go that extra mile and do a video call rather than a phone call, and see each other's faces, connect with the eyes, and just remember that we are human, and not get, I think we get a bit lazy on the devices. I think more and more people are getting better. Like, oh my God, if you would have said to me 2 years ago that I'd be on a live stream without makeup on, I would have told you were fucking mad. Absolutely crazy. Like, no.
Yeah, I'm going to offend you with this comment, but I can't say I noticed whether you've got makeup on or not.
I don't know if I'll take that as a compliment or great.
It would be very, very amiss for me to actually notice. But
it's whether I've got eyebrows or not is the difference. Right. Do I look like an albino or not?
So there's a lot of research around, and particularly with our younger generations, how the excess screen time is actually affecting their ability to empathize.
Yes.
Because all of that comes from physical, or not necessarily physical, but actually being in front of someone and reading all of them. Not just hearing the words and not just the actual words, but how they're said, what do they look like while they're saying it, what's the body doing, what are the eyes doing, all of those things.
All the non-verbal communication.
Yeah, and so that's actually having a really huge effect on kids' ability to empathise with each other.
Yeah, and because a lot of the stuff that they are consuming are over-dramatized.
Oh,
so
gosh.
it's not a real tell. Like, they're not learning the actual skill of being able to read what's going on with a person.
Yeah.
The drama. Don't get me started on the drama. Don't get me started on the on the filters and the Botox and things like that. But have you read those studies about also like with people getting Botox?
Trying to look like a filter.
Trying to look like a filter, but it's causing issues with relationships and communication because those micro expressions are gone.
Wow.
And when you actually really think about it, right? So if you actually think about that, if you're used to having a conversation with someone, it goes with empathy, and you've got a blank face because their face doesn't move.
Or you're wearing a mask.
Or you're wearing a mask. Yeah, the mask is a whole other issue. That's a whole other problem. But at least the eye, like if you think, a lot of the nonverbal communication happens in the eyes. So the way we squint, the twitch that you get, like when you frown, like when you're leaning, probably my camera's not picking up, but when you're leaning in and concentrating, or you get that little bit of a brow line, your eyes like lift up. When those things are gone, if someone's so heavily Botox, there was all these studies about what it was doing to young people's relationships, because the guys couldn't read the girls anymore. And couldn't tell
even bigger
when they were getting pissed off. Even worse than normal. And there's a whole lot of study around that. And actually, do you know where it came from? It was actually to do with sales, because it was to do with some sales. It was a study around salespeople, not the brilliant salespeople, how great they are at reading those things and relationship building and NLP, and not being able to do it because they couldn't read the expression of the other person and look for those tiny micro cues. I need to find that documentary. I watched it so long ago. But when you really think about that, there's so much that goes on with our face, and so much that we read that we don't realize, like our brain doesn't realize we're reading it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that is a scary thought, to think that our younger generation is losing that. But more that maybe the older generation is taking it away.
And it's to roll on from that, down at our surf club, the caretaker is he can't speak, and he's actually deaf as well. So when you're trying to explain things to him and you've got the mask on, you got to remember to take the mask off so that he can at least try and pick. Because for him, that's how he communicates with the world, is lip reading. And it's just it's amazing how big a difference that makes when he can't see a mouth.
Well, I didn't realize how much I lip read and read people's faces. So I had to, thanks to Borders, I had to run a workshop that I would normally run in person for my clients in Queensland. And I had all of them in a big workshop room and me on camera. So I couldn't see them all the time. And the mic we had wasn't picking up well enough. And when I couldn't see their mouths, I couldn't make out. It didn't, like, they would be in exactly the same spot and the sound was coming through the same. But if I couldn't see their mouths, I couldn't catch what was going on. And I found it really hard to do my read, because when we go to that workshop, I need to be able to see their faces to see where they're getting puzzled or where they're leaning in, or where they're backing away. And it was really quite difficult for me to control the session as much as I wanted to. They said they didn't realize. They could tell, they picked up that when I couldn't see their mouth, that they needed to come onto camera for me. But there's so much about communication and connection that I don't know is being communicated.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember where I learned it besides from going deep into these things. I don't remember any time in life where like schools or anyone actually taught us this stuff.
No, it's not taught, and that's a hard thing as well. Is that, you know, we don't go deep enough with it with the kids on it, and so they don't realise that, you know, all of that texting is actually, you know, doing them a disservice. Yeah, that's a whole other story, that one.
Just trying to. I want to make sure I get this guy's name right.
Ooh.
He is the guy. Yeah, it is. No, it's not.
So while you're looking for that,
Yeah,
while you're looking for that, let's talk about the challenge for this weekend, the bonus points that are on the table. So we've sort of we're up to laugh. We've done the, hang on, we did love, and we did adventure. Is that right?
So for live we did an adventure.
Live. Yep.
And then for love we were reaching out and doing a random act of kindness.
And so we are on to laugh. Now, laugh has been get the screen away, get rid of it, and spend some time doing things that you enjoy, that you thoroughly enjoy. So the challenge for this weekend is to put the phone away because, for some of us, you probably didn't have a phone, and do something that you enjoyed as a child. So go and find something, and it can be something as easy as playing with Play-Doh or painting a picture or colouring in or, pick up a skateboard that you haven't played on. You know, put some face paint on. You know, like just choose something that you did as a kid that you can remember that really lit you up, and do it again. No matter how silly it feels, it doesn't matter. There's no judgment in it, but choose something that you did as a kid and reconnect with it and see how it makes you feel now.
Ooh, something I used to love to do, because I've always been equal parts tomboy and girly girl. I'd drive my remote control car, my Chipmunk, and I'd like crash it over everything. I'd build up my Lego and then I'd jump. I just remember sitting and like driving my remote control car off the edge of the steps and then crashing it into my Lego. And then I'd sit down and design wedding dresses.
Nice.
So I might do some drawing.
So what I got from that is you're going to go and crash a car and then design a wedding dress.
And then put on my old wedding dress and go for a swim.
Nice. That sounds epic. That sounds really epic.
I could skateboard in the wedding dress.
Skateboard in the wedding dress off the pier into the water.
Yeah. Oh my god, that sounds great. Wait, I need a camera crew for this.
Boom.
That sounds like content right there. I found his name. I was thinking Alan Short, but it's Alan Stevens. And
yes, a local guy.
Yeah, I'm sure you've met Alan actually.
Yep, he's from Newcastle.
Yeah, so you know that show Lie to Me? Do you ever remember that?
Yep.
He helped them to do that. So being that he's a profiler and could read the faces and do the tells, like if someone's lying, like so he can look at. He did this for me. He came into my recruitment firm, and before he'd met anyone, he got photos of everyone and he profiled everyone's personality based on what their face looked like in their photos. And it was freaky. Like he nailed, oh man, the way he nailed my husband, it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous. My ex-husband, he just nailed him right down to the T. But he said, like, he was teaching us different things about in interviews, how we could read the different tells. But his thing now is deepening connection, like helping people connect better by being able to read these cues. When there's certain things about like the way that we hold our face, even in resting, that gives tells to our personality or a predisposition.
Resting bitch face.
Resting bitch face is a real legit thing. it's super super fascinating to look into that, and
Absolutely. So
I'm gonna yeah.
for everyone playing along at home, you can look up Alan Stevens on Facebook and connect with him, and you'll be able to find a lot of good content on his page. Actually, he's a very very interesting guy. So by all means, Alan Stevens. It's a single L, ALAN Stevens.
This is why I've been playing. You've got a good memory.
Yep. So yeah, look him up. It's really really interesting. And so following on from that, so the three things that we've got for today is check out Alan Stevens and Reading Faces. Use this weekend to connect and really focus on your connections with everyone around you. You know, like are they meaningful connections? Are you making a meaningful connection with everyone? And of course, the bonus points for this weekend is go and do something that you did as a kid that you haven't done in a long time. I would love to see someone with face paint on. That would be amazing.
I feel like Amy's going to be our girl for that. There's Alan's LinkedIn profile as well up on screen.
Nice. Very good.
Yeah. Face paint. We got any face paint?
We might do, actually.
I could do one with face paint. Look out.
It might be very old and Wuhan.
Oh. No, I don't want Wuhan one. I might get some new one. Okay. Challenge accepted.
Challenge accepted. Nice. There it is. So have an awesome day, everyone, and get childlike.
Get childlike. We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.